So let's take a look at the cases in Florida. This is from Johns Hopkins. And the last 2 days, you can see that the light orange columns right here. We've reported almost 10,000 cases today and over 9,000 cases yesterday. So cases are increasing rapidly in Florida. You can see a correlation. These green dotted lines are opening decisions in the state, and you can see that right after openings cases started to skyrocket. So there is a correlation there that you can attribute to the rising number of cases in Florida. I'd like to remind you of what Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis said about 6 weeks ago when he scolded reporters who outlined the danger or the dangers of reopening Florida.
Our data is available. Our data is transparent. In fact, Dr. Birx has talked multiple times about how Florida has the absolute best data. So any insinuation otherwise is just typical partisan narrative trying to be spun. And part of the reason is that because you got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened. Not only do we have a lower death rate, well, we have way lower deaths generally. We have a lower death rate than the Acela Corridor, D.C., everyone up there. We have a lower death rate than the Midwest, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. But even in our region, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida has the lower death rate. And I was the #1 landing spot from tens of thousands of people leaving the #1 hot zone in the world to come to my state. So we've succeeded, and I think that people just don't want to recognize it because it challenges their narrative, it challenges their assumption, so they got to try to find a boogeyman. Maybe it's that there are black helicopters circling the Department of Health. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.
Last question.
So obviously this guy is going to have a short political career because you just can't survive with this video circling over the internet. His stupid remarks are now haunting him badly. Back at the Johns Hopkins chart, you can see the rising number of cases here. And I can say by looking at the data from New York that this is attributed to the first phase of reopening here. It took a few weeks for it to show up. Now we have 2 more phases of openings right here, and these will start to show up later. So we're just beginning to see the number of cases increasing. It's going to get worse. The outlook for Florida is pretty abysmal. And let's take a look at which state in the country has the largest population of 65 and older. This is from PRB, and when we scroll to Florida, whoops, it's 20.5% of 65 plus older population.
Because you got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.
We're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened. 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.